The cat hugged his brother tightly, silently begging for help from everyone. Noris and Nicholas, two homeless, hungry cats, had no shelter, no safety, and perhaps no hope. No one knew where they came from or whether they had once known the warmth of a home. All we knew was that they were alone, suffering in the shadows of indifference. Noris was the more curious of the two, his eyes still glimmering with a faint light of trust despite the hardship. Nicholas, on the other hand, was motionless. His leg, twisted unnaturally beneath him, was clearly injured, so badly he couldn't stand. His fur was matted, his body frail, and his spirit looked broken. The sight of the two of them, so vulnerable and in pain, was enough to move anyone with a heart to tears. When the rescue team found them, they didn't hesitate. One of the rescuers bent down gently, offering a loving hand. Noris leaned into the touch almost instinctively, as if he'd been waiting all his life for someone to care. Nicholas couldn't move, but the look in his eyes, filled with fear and longing, said everything. The rescuer's heart broke in that moment. "We have to help them," she said softly, cradling Nicholas with the gentleness of someone holding something infinitely precious. They were rushed to the veterinary clinic. The examination revealed what they feared. Nicholas had a fresh fracture in his femur. The pain must have been unbearable. He needed emergency surgery if he was to walk again. Noris, though in better shape, was severely malnourished and emotionally fragile. The vets and rescue team immediately sprang into action, their only goal to bring these cats back to life. Nicholas underwent surgery that very day. The medical staff worked tirelessly, and when he came out of the operation, he was placed in a soft bed, warm and safe for the first time in what may have been years. Noris remained by his side, his quiet presence offering comfort. The two were inseparable. The following weeks were not easy. 10 weeks of recovery meant constant care, daily medications, physical therapy, gentle grooming, and most of all, love. The rescue team poured their hearts into every moment. They didn't just feed the cats or clean their wounds. They talked to them, comforted them, held them when they were scared. They treated them like family. And something extraordinary began to happen. Bit by bit, Nicholas started to heal, not just physically but emotionally. He learned to trust again. The once frightened cat who flinched at every sound now purred softly when his caretakers entered the room. Noris, too, blossomed. He gained weight, his fur grew shiny and clean, and his eyes sparkled with curiosity. He would often be seen curling up beside Nicholas as if saying, "We've made it, brother." Every week brought a new milestone. The first time Nicholas stood up again, shaky but determined, the entire team burst into tears. It was a miracle. Step by step, he learned to walk, play, and even run. His limp never quite went away, but it became a symbol of his strength rather than weakness. Noris became his guide, his shadow, his best friend. By the end of 10 weeks, the transformation was undeniable. The scared, broken cats from the streets were now healthy, confident, and most importantly, happy. Noris was unrecognizable, playful, sleek, and full of life. Nicholas walked with pride, his head held high, his eyes shining with gratitude. Their bond remained unbreakable, a living reminder of how love can heal the deepest wounds. Their story didn't stay quiet for long. It was shared in newspapers and across social media, touching hearts around the world. People wrote messages of encouragement, sent gifts, and donated to support more rescues like theirs. One comment read, "This is the story I needed today. Thank you for saving them, and for reminding us that every life matters." And it's true, every life does matter. Noris and Nicholas taught us that. They taught us that even in a world full of darkness, light can find its way in. They reminded us that no creature should be left behind, and that sometimes a second chance is all it takes to rewrite a life. To the rescue team and the incredible veterinarians who never gave up, your compassion created a miracle. To Noris and Nicholas, thank you for surviving, for trusting again, and for showing us the power of love. Now we invite you, yes, you, to be a part of their journey. Please share their story. Let their courage inspire others to open their hearts. Every like, every comment, every share helps raise awareness and gives other animals a chance at the same miracle Noris and Nicholas experienced. Because together, we can bring more light into the world. Is there a pain more profound than a mother losing her children? That silent, invisible ache that lingers long after the tears have dried, the kind of sorrow that wraps itself around the soul and never quite lets go. For Panda, a stray cat with a coat as soft and patterned as her name suggests, this pain was all too real. In the shell of a long-abandoned lumber mill surrounded by rusted iron and crumbling wood, a tiny, desperate cry echoed through the still air. A group of passers-by heard it, faint yet urgent, and followed the sound through the debris-strewn floor. What they found broke their hearts. There, among the ruins, lay Panda. She was in labour, her fragile body shivering with exhaustion and pain. No one knew how long she'd been there, struggling alone without shelter, food or warmth. Her eyes told the story before any words were spoken. She was scared, tired, and barely holding on. The rescue team was called immediately. They acted fast, wrapping Panda in a soft blanket and rushing her to the nearest veterinary clinic. Every second counted. At the clinic, the veterinarians discovered that Panda had already given birth to 5 kittens. But there was a 6th, still stuck, no longer alive. It had caused complications that threatened Panda's life. Time was slipping away. The veterinary team swiftly prepared for an emergency surgery to remove the deceased kitten and perform a spay operation to save Panda's life. Her tiny body was so weak, her breath shallow. Everyone in that room worked with a quiet urgency, their hearts heavy with worry. The surgery was a success, but the road ahead was uncertain. As Panda lay recovering, her 5 kittens began to show signs of distress. Their frail bodies, born into a world of hardship and trauma, struggled to hold on. Despite the team's tireless efforts, incubators, fluids, gentle feeding, one by one, the kittens slipped away. It was agonizing to witness, and for Panda it was pure heartbreak. She grieved silently, her eyes vacant, her body too weak to move. It was as if her spirit had been shattered along with her little family. But life, in its strange and quiet way, often finds a way forward. Out of the 5, 3 kittens survived. They were small, trembling, and clinging to life, but they were alive. Panda, slowly recovering, began to take notice. Something inside her stirred, a mother's instinct, fierce and unbreakable. She pulled herself closer to them, offering warmth, protection, and love. Over the course of 20 long weeks, Panda began to heal. Not just physically, but emotionally. Her body grew stronger, her fur shinier, her steps more confident. The trauma she endured had left deep scars, but with every passing day she allowed herself to love again. Her 3 kittens grew under her watchful eye, nurtured by the strength of a mother who had lost so much yet still had so much to give. They became playful, curious, and full of life. For Panda, they were her everything, her hope, her reason to keep going. The mill, once a place of sorrow and near death, became the place of her rebirth. And with the help of her rescuers, she never had to face another day alone. Panda's story travelled far beyond the walls of the clinic. It was shared on social media, picked up by local newspapers, and touched thousands of hearts. Messages poured in, words of support, gratitude, and love. People were inspired by her resilience, by her unbreakable maternal spirit, and by the tireless compassion of those who saved her. Even in her quiet moments when she watches her kittens play or rests her head beside them, there's a flicker of that deep sadness in her eyes. Some losses never fully leave us. But alongside the sorrow, there is also peace and a growing joy that fills her days. Panda now lives in safety, surrounded by people who love her and her little family. Her story is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, even when all seems lost, love can find a way. Healing is possible. Hope is real. She didn't just survive, she fought, she endured, and she rose again. If Panda's story has touched your heart, we invite you to send your prayers and love her way. Like this story, share it with those who believe in kindness, and subscribe for more stories of hope, courage, and second chances. Thank you for being here. See you again next time. And until then, never underestimate the power of love.